Hello everyone, Mr. Newsome here to walk you through my classroom syllabus and expectations for AP English Literature. Let's get started. If you or your parent needs to contact me, you may call me on the school phone at 270-259-4078. You may email me at bill.newsome@grayson.kyschools.us. You may text me on the Remind app by joining the class using the code @news-aping. Or you can call or text my Google Voice number at 773-717-2287. The big thing about this coming year, especially with some students being in person and some students opting for virtual learning, is that you keep the lines of communication open, keeping frequent contact with your teachers, including me. That's how we are taking attendance this year. Submitting assignments online when they're due, frequent communications, daily communications. That is how we have to monitor your attendance. So please keep the lines of communication open. What are we going to study this year in AP English? Well, this course is a high-level course, a college-level course, that focuses on interpreting and critically analyzing selected works of all types of literature. We definitely emphasize essay writing to help prepare you for the on-demand test at the end of the year, the K-Prep. We also do ACT practice to help prepare you for that exam. And of course, lots of essays to help you prepare for the AP English Literature exam. Oral presentations, vocabulary development, in-depth out-of-class reading, and college prep study and note-taking skills are part of the course as well. Upon successful completion of this course, students will be prepared to take the AP English Literature exam and hopefully earn college credit for that. The curriculum from this course incorporates American, British, and world literature. An outline of our course will be available on Google Classroom, but the major units of study, the books that we'll read, and the movies that we'll watch include the following. We will study epic poetry, Greek culture, and the Odyssey. We'll also look at excerpts from other epics, such as Gilgamesh. From there, we'll move into Anglo-Saxon culture and the epic Beowulf, one of my favorites. As a counterpoint to Beowulf, we'll read a more modern novel by John Gardner called Grendel that looks at the Beowulf story from the monster's point of view. As an independent project, you can plan to either read Oedipus Rex or Antigone. We will have a unit, several units actually, dedicated explicitly to poetry and poetry analysis. Some of those units include a focus on metaphysical poetry, such as by John Donne, romantic era poetry by John Keats, Wordsworth, or Gray, Victorian poetry of Robert Browning or Alfred Lord Tennyson, and modern poetry, such as by Dylan Thomas, Seamus Heaney, or Allen Ginsberg. During those units, a poetry anthology analysis project is also required. Another of our units will read A Midsummer Night's Dream by Shakespeare. We'll also read Hamlet by Shakespeare. Depending on the way the year goes and time, we may also incorporate other plays or works by Shakespeare, including Macbeth. We'll also look at satire, such as Oscar Wilde's play, The Importance of Being Earnest. We also examine dystopian literature, such as Margaret Atwood's The Handmaid's Tale. Modernism is looked at in Arthur Miller's play Death of a Salesman. We also read short stories, including such stories as James Joyce's Araby, Elizabeth Bowen's Demon Lover, and Edgar Allan Poe's Cask of Amontillado. And we may read other novels or plays throughout the year, including but not limited to Samuel Beckett's absurdist play Waiting for Godot, Mary Shelley's classic Frankenstein, or F. Scott Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby. So those are just a few of the many books that we'll read. We will definitely use Google Classroom as our class website. Hopefully you're familiar with that already from other classes, but that will be where I post your assignments, any announcements, reminders, due dates, schedules, and it will be where you submit the majority of your classwork. Our textbook is Elements of Literature, and we will also use the Bedford Introduction to Literature. The grading policy for this class follows the standard GCHS policy. Grades will be updated and posted on a regular basis, and it is your responsibility as an AP student to log into Infinite Campus and keep track of your own grade. At your age level, it's appropriate for you to contact me directly when you have a concern with a grade or an assignment. Frankly, I would rather talk to you than your parent or guardian because it's a step toward you becoming independent and a self-advocate. Now, parents, that being said, obviously, if there's a major concern, please feel free to call or email anytime. What's the grade breakdown for this AP course? Well, your daily work will count for 30% of your overall grade. All of our writings, your AP essays, your on-demand essay practice, taking them through the writing process of pre-writing, writing a rough draft, doing peer review, and getting a final draft, those will be 40% of your overall grade. So it's very important that you keep up to date and do your best on your writing assignments. Independent reading. I expect you to read at least 3 novels per trimester on your own and fill out reading logs over those that are due about every 4 weeks. %10 of your grade will come from the RTI, bell work, and participation. Those focus mostly on ACT grammar skills. We'll do a little bit of bell work every day in addition to your normal lesson, and that makes up 10% of your overall grade, as does the final exam, which is also 10%. So that's just a little bit about what the expectations are and how you can expect to be graded. Here are my expectations that I expect of you as an AP or an honors English student. A significant portion of the work, especially during remote learning, is going to be done outside of the classroom. So I reserve in-class time, the time that we can meet together either physically or using Google Meets, is largely guided practice and feedback time. A lot of the learning for my class this year will be self-directed. So I expect you to be a go-getter, to be diligent about keeping up with deadlines. If there's something that you don't understand or you're having a hard time with, meet me during my office hours every week, and I'll be glad to discuss any problems you're having or to try to answer any questions that you have. So make use of my live sessions, make use of my office hours on Google Meet, and make good use of the other resources that I post to Google Classroom to help you. That being said, this class might not be for you if you expect an easy A. A's are something that I don't give out very easily. I think that students who earn an A really need to earn that grade. So expect to earn your A. This class might also not be for you if you don't enjoy reading or thinking critically. In an honors class, I have high expectations. I believe that students should not only keep up with the reading, but think critically about what they're reading. You might also want to reconsider this class if you don't have a lot of time after school or on the weekends to devote to reading or completing assignments independently. Now, this could be for a variety of reasons, maybe because of a job, because of other extracurriculars, or maybe you have other family obligations. Whatever the reason, again, a lot of the work in my class is going to be done outside of the classroom. So you will need to devote a lot of time to reading on your own during the school day, after school, or on weekends. Don't expect to pass this class if you don't do the reading. SparkNotes, CliffsNotes, Schmoop, BookRags, all of those other summary sites will only take you so far in my class. I expect a lot of quality thought on your part about what you read and not just looking things up online. Something else you might not that you might want to consider. This class might not be for you if you are a serial procrastinator, if you like to put things off until the very last minute. I have a late work policy that we'll talk about in a moment, but this kind of behavior, procrastinating, putting multiple assignments off until the very last minute, that does not lead to meaningful growth. And the quality of your work will suffer, leading to low grades. Maybe it's worked for you in the past. You can bang out a 2, 3, 4-page essay in 10 minutes, but that will not work with me. So, if you tend to procrastinate and put things off, maybe this year an honors or AP class might not be the best for you given the current environment. This might not be the class for you also if you're just used to copying work from others and not thinking for yourself. Since everything is submitted through Google Classroom, it is very easy for me to detect plagiarism, to detect copying from other students. Even if you change a word here or there so he won't know, I will still know. I've been at this long enough. I can spot a plagiarist. I can spot something I've already read in another word here and there. I can spot that very easily. I expect the work you turn in to be your own. And finally, this might not be the class for you if you tend to make excuses for why things aren't done or aren't done well. You're in an honors class. You know that from the beginning. I expect high quality, thoughtful work from you. The required supplies for this class. Well, this is an unusual year since the majority of our instruction and assignment submission will be facilitated by Google Classroom. Even when we return to school for in-person instruction, whenever that may be, you should still bring either a school-issued Chromebook or a personal laptop or Chromebook to class every day. That is our standing procedure. Even when we're in class for face-to-face instruction, we're still going to be submitting our assignments, completing daily work, bell work, reading logs, all of that online, and submitting it through Google Classroom. So be sure that if you do not have a personal laptop or Chromebook that you plan to bring to in-person instruction, that you check out a Chromebook from the school. You should also bring some loose leaf paper, pens or pencils in dark colors, and highlighters. Even though most of what we do will be facilitated online, there are still other assignments that will be facilitated via paper copies. So that's where the paper, the pens and pencils, and the highlighters come in. Here are my classroom rules and procedures. Most of these focus on in-person learning, so you will need to be up on these when we get back to the classroom. And then we'll talk about our online only rules and expectations. But as far as in-person learning goes, tardiness will not be tolerated. You're juniors or seniors, so come to class on time. Don't stand outside the door or wander around the classroom or the hallways. When the bell rings, the door will be closed as per the GCHS tardy policy. So if you're not in your seat when the bell rings, you'll need to go get a tardy note. Along those measures, please attend to personal needs before you come to the classroom. In the event of an emergency, though, you do have 3 out-of-room passes for the entire trimester, unless there's some sort of medical documentation on file, which would necessitate more frequent bathroom breaks, but that's on a case-by-case basis, and you can talk to me about that. The incentive for not using those out-of-room passes is that unused passes are converted to bonus points, to extra credit at the end of the trimester. So, if you didn't do too well on a writing assignment or on a test or a quiz, then those unused bathroom pass bonus points can really help your grade. Another rule, please follow all of my directions, remaining in your assigned seat unless told otherwise. Be sure to bring all required materials, your Chromebook, your paper, your pens, pencils, highlighters, to class every day, including your independent reading novel that will be checked out from the library or read online through the Kentucky Virtual Library. During independent reading time, if you do not have your independent novel or play with you, then you will be required to complete additional classwork that I will assign you. That would be short story analysis, poetry analysis. So it's best if you bring your independent book at all times so that we can make use of that in the classroom. Additional in-person learning classroom rules. Please talk only when permitted. When you do talk, use polite speech, use polite body language. Don't talk when I'm talking. So in other words, just be respectful to the teacher, other students, and yourself. Because if you're talking, if you're being disrupting, you are not just being disrespectful to me and the other students, you're being disrespectful to yourself because you're cheating yourself out of a learning opportunity. Speaking of cheating, do not cheat in my class. Students who are caught cheating, as per the district policy, will be given a 0. The administration will be notified, and your parents will be called or emailed. Both the student who shares his or her work and the person who copies will be considered to be cheating. Okay, so even if you just let someone else copy your work or look at your work, quote, for inspiration, end quote, you will still get a 0 if that person significantly copies your work in a way that I can tell that yours was the original source. And again, Google Classroom makes that very easy for me to detect. We'll talk more about plagiarism and cheating when we get to the online class rules and procedures. But for now, just be aware that you should not cheat. I expect all work to be yours, to be original, and to be thoughtful. In honors and AP classes, discipline issues are usually not an issue, but they do come up occasionally. So those will be handled immediately. All GCHS policies will be followed strictly. Appropriate action will be followed, which may include a referral, lunch or after-school detention, a phone call to your parent or guardian, a parent or teacher conference with you and your guardian, time and ice, or other measures deemed appropriate by the teacher or the administration. Now this is very important, my late work and makeup policy. It's your responsibility as an honors or AP student to turn your work in on time and when you're absent to complete all missed work. If you are absent a day or two, it's your responsibility to obtain any makeup work. Google Classroom makes this very easy to see what you have missed. Any assignment that is turned in late after the due date on Google Classroom will receive a reduction in the points earned. So if you turn it in 1 day late, you lose points. If you turn it in 2 days late, you lose even more points. And after 2 days, then it goes into the grade book as a 0. So it's important that you keep your deadlines in mind, that you don't procrastinate, that you turn your work for my class in on time when it's due, and don't let it pile up. If we do meet in person, cell phones and other electronic devices other than your Chromebook should be out of sight in a backpack, a purse, pocket, unless I specifically say that you may use them on the particular assignment at hand. Also, cell phones are not to be charged in the classroom. That just enables you to keep using them throughout the rest of the day in classes taught by other teachers. And I don't want that. The first cell phone infraction will incur a warning. The second, you'll get a referral as per the GCHS cell phone policy. Now, during certain assignments, such as tests, ACT practice, and the like, I will collect cell phones if we are meeting in person, and you'll get them back upon conclusion of the assignment or the assessment. Finally, no toys are allowed in class. This includes fidget spinners, Rubik's Cubes, and their like. The consequences: if you choose to break a classroom rule, then you may just get a warning. It may be a conference with the teacher. It may be a parent-teacher conference, or maybe I'll call your parents and explain what happened, or it could be a referral. So just do the right thing and we won't have a problem. Thus far, we have discussed what to expect with in-person learning. Now, let's focus on what we can expect from non-traditional instruction, remote learning, online learning. For this school year, NTI is a reality. In addition to our in-person days, you can expect short-term and long-term sessions of remote learning. It may be that we come into the classroom one day and then that evening we're told we'll be transitioning to remote learning. That's another reason that I chose to use Google Classroom for all of my assignments this year. We know what is due, we all have a device to complete it on, and we can just pick up where we left off at home if we do have to transition to remote learning. So this year especially, we need to count on students, teachers, and families to support one another so that we can provide the best instruction possible in this uncertain environment. Some things that you will need this year to make NTI work for you. Google Classroom is our official site for viewing and submitting work. You should have used this previously last year with your NTI and in your other classes this year. But you may log in by going to classroom.google.com and logging in with your school email and password. There, you can see all of your classes and what's due in each one of those classes. Infinite Campus is where you will find your grades. So students, parents, please make sure your contact information is up to date. The school and or I might need to contact you, and if we don't have an up-to-date phone number, that can't happen. So please just check that your contact info is up to date in Infinite Campus. I do expect to hold live lessons and office hours on Google Meet. The schedule for those will be posted on Google Classroom. And you can also call or text my Google Voice number with any questions. That number is 773-717-2287. Some apps that I suggest you download either on your phone, your personal computer, or get to know on your Chromebook issued by the school. Definitely Google Classroom and the other G Suite apps like Google Slides, Google Docs, Google Meet, and Google Drive, and Gmail. All of those work together through Google Classroom. We're also using Remind in my class as a way to keep in touch. And Quizlet is a resource that will help you to learn some difficult concepts in a quick and fun manner. So those are some apps that you might want to download on your phone or on your personal desktop or laptop. Some things that you can expect from me and what I will expect from you during NTI. So during remote learning, I will attempt to contact you regularly via your school email, via Remind, and or by your telephone to check in and offer help if I see you're falling behind. What I expect from you is to maintain regular contact with me. Ask for help if and when you need it. To maintain regular contact, you should check your school email daily. You should answer all emails, phone calls, and texts from me or the school or your other teachers promptly. Don't put that off. And make sure you're completing your work and turning it in on time, because that is one way that we track your attendance and participation. Okay? So to that end, I will post all assignments for a given week or a given unit at once, allowing you some leeway to work at your own pace as long as you turn things in by the deadline. I will also post a schedule to keep you on track. So what I expect from you is that using the tools in Google Classroom and using the schedule I post, you'll keep up with all the due dates and you will submit assignments by the deadline. Since the schedule is posted, you may work at your own pace to an extent, as long as you don't procrastinate or fall behind. I will be posting certain quizzes and tests on Google Classroom, so plan ahead to take those tests during the limited time frame that I'm going to open those up to you. Okay, so those will only be open for a short time, maybe 1 or 2 days, not an entire week. So plan to take those during one of those two time frames. If you're unable to do that, let me know. Contact me. Talk with me. Work with me. And I'll see what I can do to help you. Some other things that you can expect from me during NTI. Grades will be updated in Infinite Campus on a regular basis, at least once a week, although I try to enter mini grades sooner. So you should show initiative and take charge of your own education. You know, like most things in life, you get out of something, in this case your education, what you put into it. So don't just do the bare minimum to squeak by. Make your education world class. I'm here to help you, to guide you, to focus your learning, but the responsibility for much of that learning is on your shoulders. Some other things you can expect from me. I will actively monitor all assignments for academic dishonesty. What does that mean? Well, homework assignments, writing assignments, and all quizzes and tests will be checked for plagiarism. I will also be consistent in applying the district's policy of assigning grades of 0% to all students who copy work from another student or online, or who allow their work to be copied. I know that Google Classroom makes it very tempting for you to search for answers through Google and copy and paste them from other places or from other students, but Google Classroom also makes it very easy for me to detect academic dishonesty. Even if you change the wording so you'll never know, you will eventually get caught, because I have become quite adept at detecting academic dishonesty over the years. So just complete your own work and it won't be a problem. This course is designed to be challenging. You know, if you feel overwhelmed, if you feel like you're just not getting it, come to my live sessions, meet me in Google Hangout, or schedule a time to talk with me to get personal help via Google Meet. Some things I expect of you, again, complete your own work. Don't copy off of another student. Even if you change the wording, it's still plagiarism because you didn't come up with the idea in the first place. Also, don't let another student copy your work. You worked hard on your assignment, so don't share it with others. If you do, you are aiding and abetting plagiarism, and you will receive a 0 as well. The biggest thing, though, is when you cheat, you're cheating yourself. By copying somebody else's answers, by getting answers from the internet, by waiting until the last minute to binge complete your assignments, you're cheating yourself out of meaningful growth. That's why we give you books and novels to read over the course of several weeks, over the course of months. We scaffold this so that your brain has time to think about what you've read. And that is what leads to meaningful growth. That's how you become a better student. That's how you become prepared for college. That's how you become a thoughtful and engaged adult. Because meaningful growth can only happen over time by repeatedly challenging yourself. So don't take the easy way out. Don't cheat, because you're cheating yourself out of becoming just a little bit of a better student. Some other things to expect from me during NTI: I will host live weekly sessions using Google Meet. During these sessions, I will provide direct instruction, modeling, and some guided practice for how that week's assignments should be completed. But I'll also leave time for group questions. So be sure to check the schedule when it's posted on Google Classroom for exact times and dates of the live lessons. I expect you to make every attempt to attend those live weekly lessons, if at all possible. If not possible, you're expected to watch the video recording on Google Classroom. So plan to attend those live meetings from Google Meet, because those are my way of providing direct instruction, feedback, and answers to any questions you might have. I also plan to hold virtual office hours every week via Google Meet. During that time, I will answer individual questions, give personal feedback, maybe assign small group projects. Speaking of groups, small groups are welcome to join. So if you have a study group, if you have formed an online study group, which is not a bad thing to do in this environment, your entire study group is welcome to join my office hours as well, so that I can address some common questions at once. Again, be sure to check the schedule on Google Classroom for exact times and dates. So you should attend virtual office hours or schedule personal help if you have any questions or see yourself falling behind in class. You can also expect that during NTI, I will be available for personal help via email and Google Meet. I will make myself available to you should you have any questions or concerns outside of normal office hours. So please call or text with questions or schedule a personal meeting via Google Meet. So again, what I expect from you: complete and submit all your work via Google Classroom. So you will complete your work directly on the document template that I attach for each assignment. So you will have a pre-made template that I have created for you that I want you to use. This will be a Google Doc or a slide with some Pear Deck or Edpuzzle assignments as well. What you should not do, and what I will not accept, is completing your work in a separate program, such as Microsoft Word, and then uploading it to Google Drive, or copying the text into a Google Doc or slide. All of your work must be completed on that original template that I post directly to Google Classroom. Don't copy and paste from somewhere else. Even if it's your own work, that is immediately suspicious, and I always check the document history, so I can see that something was copied and pasted in and not completed over time in the Google template. So again, make sure you're completing all of your work directly on the template that I give you and not using some other program. Okay. If an emergency arises and you're unable to submit a typed assignment via Google Classroom, then I'm willing to accept a handwritten assignment or a photo of the assignment. So take a photo of it and submit that via Google Classroom, or submit that to my email. However, that should be the rare exception and not the norm, since you are expected to prepare and submit all work using Google Classroom and Google Tools. One last expectation: if a legitimate sickness arises, if you're sick for one day or a period of days, if you're legitimately sick and it's not just, well, I don't feel like completing my assignments today, I'm going to take the day off. If it's a legitimate sickness, let me know and let the school know. That's our way of tracking participation and attendance. So if you don't post anything from me that day and the school doesn't indicate that you called them to let them know you were sick, then that's an unexcused absence. Okay? So if a legitimate sickness does arise, let the school know and let me know directly, and I will work with you to help you complete assignments in a timely manner. Okay, so when I have my live lessons through Google Meet and my office hours through Google Meet, there are certain expectations I have for how those meetings will be conducted. What I would like for you to do is to pick a quiet spot at home. Maybe this is in a bedroom or a den or somewhere that's out of the way where you don't have any distractions. No TVs on in the background, so please turn off other devices. TVs, cell phones, iPads, and other gadgets that you don't need for learning, turn those off. Let me tell you, you are not as good at multitasking as you think you are. So even if you say or think that you can complete your homework while listening to music and watching TV and texting at the same time, Snapchatting, uh, studies have shown that the quality of your work does suffer, even if you're not aware of it. So please make an effort and turn off those other devices, especially during Google Meet. Wear the proper attire. This is school, right? This is a school meeting, a meeting with your teacher and your classmates. So be sure you wear school appropriate clothes as if you were in person. So don't come wearing your pajamas, spaghetti straps, those sorts of things that will be distracting. Come wearing school appropriate clothes. Before a meeting occurs, be prepared. Make sure your laptop or your Chromebook is fully charged. Have any necessary materials pulled up, either on your desk physically or in other tabs on the computer. Have any practice books and supplies that you'll need out as well. Also, please be on time. Don't join the meeting 5 minutes late. Join it 5 minutes early before we're scheduled to begin. That way, if there's any technical issues, you'll be sure to get there on time. We can work those out. Also, it's good practice to mute yourself when you are not speaking. So only unmute if it is your turn to talk or if you are called on by one of your teachers. Do your best to learn during these live or office hour sessions. Focus on the lesson, watch, listen, don't get distracted. Think about what you see and hear, ask and answer questions. We can also use the chat feature to ask questions. That's why I'm here, to help teach you, guide you, and answer your questions. Finally, be respectful. Listen to the teacher or whoever is talking at that point. If you need to talk, either raise your hand on camera, type, "I'd like to say something" in the chat, and also be respectful and don't leave before the meeting is over. Now, occasionally, if something comes up and there's a doctor's appointment or some emergency, I understand, but plan to stay the entire time. So those are my expectations for office hours and live lessons via Google Meet. Okay, now that we have finished this presentation, almost, I want you and your parents to review anything you're unclear about, and then digitally sign my syllabus signature sheet by typing your full name in the form that's attached to the Google assignment, to indicate that you have read all of the rules, that you know what's expected of you, and that you're willing to accept those and abide by those, that you're aware of the content that's being taught, and that you'll do your best to be a good student and follow my rules. So again, after you complete that syllabus and expectations quiz and Edpuzzle, submit it for a grade. Then be sure to digitally sign and have your parent or guardian digitally sign that syllabus signature sheet attached to the assignment in Google Classroom. That is also a grade. I expect that you really will have your parent or guardian look over the class materials and digitally type in their name to let me know that they have read and understand everything that I expect of you, the student. Okay, so have your parent go over the attached rules and expectations on Google Classroom, and when they're ready to sign, have them digitally type in their name, and maybe even leave me a note if they'd like on the form. Again, as always, if you have any questions, concerns, comments, or feedback, please contact me via my email address or my Google Voice number. Hopefully, you're all aware now of the classroom expectations and requirements. I'm excited to start this unconventional trimester. Hopefully you are too. Thank you for watching, and have a great rest of your day.